Would appear that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle seemingly had their own agenda way back at the very start of their wedding concerning Thomas Markle. But what was it? Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Nice to have your company today. Welcome one and all brand new subscribers. Lovely to see you. Also, thank you for a very kind comments about Gene Autry. Yes, way before my time, I might point out. But I love all of these things because we see them on reruns, don't we? And then you have a watch and you think, oh, right. And then you realise they were just mega stars, weren't they? Absolute huge stars in their moment. By the way, I got a lovely message from a lady who said, does anybody remember the Bowie Boys? Do you? The Bowie Boys were a serial from 1945 going right through till 1958, and they had all sorts of adventures in New York. I suppose a little bit like what you'd sort of say is the happy days of the 1970s and early 80s, you know, with the Fonz for my generation, that type of thing. That's what I remember. But the Bowie Boys remained very, very popular, not through just cinema, but of course moving forward onto syndication TV. And it's nice, isn't it, that we spark memories with each other, because then you look and think, oh yes, I remember that. And I think also it just takes you back. You know, I'm sure for those people who saw the Bowie Boys at the cinema, there'll be a smell of oranges, apples, peanuts, and of course just sitting there in the dark on the big screen looking at these people thinking, where's New York? What is it like? Do they really live there? That sort of stuff. As ever though, back to your breaking roll story of the day. Now this particular story is fascinating in itself because it's not included in the latest book that everybody's now reading, of course. But what we can tell you is this. It does appear that way back just before that spectacle that we call the royal wedding, which was a wonderful event inclusive of everybody, was of course seen around the world by billions of people, and according to Meghan made millions if not billions, of course, for the economy. Never one to be shy, of course. But what is interesting is that when we saw them being interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, it did appear, according to Prince Harry, that Prince Charles was less than, you know, cooperative, helpful, kind, whatever. As ever, the truth always comes out. Seemingly, Prince Charles did his very best to offer some sort of reconciliation between Meghan Markle and her father Thomas. Now, what you won't read in the book is this. He offered to send, you know, personal security out there, making sure that he could arrange a safe place for her and her father to meet, not necessarily down in Mexico, as she allegedly said, that it was going to be very obvious. She'd never really been there before. It will create a lot of publicity and stir, all that sort of stuff. The bottom line is this, really, though, that Prince Charles could not understand why his youngest son had not really connected with the father. You know, he found this baffling, I mean, as one would. And he kept apparently saying, and as ever we have to say allegedly, like, look, you know, you're the best chance of getting this reconciled, etc., you know, move forward. Even after Thomas Markle had been spotted with those now fake paparazzi pictures, Prince Charles was all ready to forgive and forget and move forward. After all, this is a man, as we saw, who very kindly walked down, you know, in St. George's Chapel with Doria Ragland. So it just proves what a kind and caring soul he was. But for some inane reason, and as ever, we have no idea why, basically, Meghan Markle, alongside Prince Harry, decided that Thomas Markle, well, as we now know, had some setback, an illness, a terrible heart attack, but then again, seemingly was cut off and not spoken to. So whichever way you look at it, you could say there was trouble at the very beginning of this. Definitely traffic light signs. For why, as one can imagine, if you were Prince Charles, you'd be thinking, this is very strange. But as he tried to get forward and trying to get some solution from his youngest son, he was battered back, basically saying, you don't understand the story, allegedly. Now, what's also interesting is Prince William tried to get involved, but he too was kicked away. So whichever way you look at it, you know, if you were trying to organise that particular wedding, you would have seen some signs right at the beginning. And obviously Prince Charles, alongside other senior members of the monarchy, must have highlighted these fears. But according to a very good source, Prince Harry seemingly batted them back, saying it's more difficult than you can imagine. Either way, as we've now seen, what transpired is that Thomas Markle has been cut dry, never spoken to more or less since, even after his recent health setback. And more importantly, Prince Charles and Prince William, anybody has not been able to forge any close relationship with the Markle family, seemingly because someone somehow stopped them. But as ever, who? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.